Hello everyone, this is the explanation video to quiz 3. Now, in this quiz we have actually a snake game where we have several functions of it and you're going to implement them. Now, the snake game is as follows. We have a spawn function here and well, this example will be based on a linked list structure here. The spawn function here spawns the head of a snake at a position 8, 8. So x is going to be 8, y is also going to be 8, and all the remaining nodes, so all the remaining parts of the snake, other than the head, will be on the right of 8, 8. So it means that the x value will be increasing to the right and the y value will be the same. Now, there are 3 nodes at the beginning of the game, so we will have the head, node 1 and node 2, basically. The grow function here will basically append a node at the end of the at the end of the tail, but the thing here is that we're placing them on top of each other. This means that when I call grow multiple times, it will place the nodes on top of each other, so the last position will be repeated basically. The dump function, as always, will print the positions of the whole snake, so it will start from the head, then the next node, then the next node, then the next node. All the nodes will be displayed, their positions will be displayed basically. And use this format to align them. I have an example down here, so you can just basically recreate that using this format here in printf. The directions are defined in the template. I'm going to show you the template. The move function uses an integer because the directions are defined as integers, and we will move the snake accordingly, basically. You know, the snake game where the head goes to a certain direction and all the other nodes or parts are going to follow it, basically. That's the whole idea behind the example here. So let's first look at the main function. These are the directions. You have up, right, down, left. It starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. This is just basically for the snake move function here. We will provide 0, 1, 2, 3 here, or basically we will use up, right, down, left to move the snake, and it's going to basically move. Now, in int main function, you can see it spawns the snake, and then it grows it 3 times, and then it dumps the situation. So the first line will show us what we have initially. And then we move it up 8 times. Basically here we dump it after each movement. And then we move to the left 8 times. And then we dump it back again. This is the reason why we started at 8, 8. And this will not change, so stick to this. Now here we have basically our template here. We only need these 2 libraries, stdlib and stdio, and specifically printf, malloc, and free are actually sufficient. We don't need anything more. So this is basically the node, and it has an x and y coordinate assigned to it, and then we have the next node here. We also have this type def struct snode node, so we can call it node rather than snode or struct node. So this gets rid of that part. Then we have the snake itself. It consists of a head node, and that's basically it, because we can add each node to the node that is available here. So head has basically a property called next, so we can use head.next and then assign another node and then .next, not next, and so on and so forth. Now, initially when we instantiate the snake, we have a null head here. Again, we have the same definitions, so you should basically not touch anything from here. The only thing that you should do is implement these lines here. We have spawn, we have grow, we have snake dump, and we have snake move. This is basically a linked list. We had an example like that. You can check it out. We have a video about this, so you can check that out maybe, but this is basically going to instantiate the head, and then the next node, and then the next node here. You should have 3 nodes, counting the head to, of course, as a total. And when we call grow 1 time, it will basically append a new node with the same coordinates as the tail of the snake so it will be on top of each other. Here in dump, you should basically dump the whole snake. If it's a 3-part snake now, it should print it out. If it's a, I don't know, 8-part, if the length is 8, for example, it should print out each position of each node of the whole snake here. And the snake move here will, of course, be implemented so that when we provide a direction, 0, 1, 2, 3, then it should move the head towards that, and then everything else also should move. You know that the node will basically take its previous node's position, kind of. There's this special movement about the snake, which we can implement using this linked list here, and that's the whole point of this quiz here. There's a point assigned to each function here. You can see 20 points worth. So, as you can imagine, the hardest part is to have the snake move here. It should compile, by the way. If it doesn't, then you're in trouble. Please provide a code that at least compiles. Now you can read the explanation again, but this is basically when we dump it, when we run this main function, once you've implemented it, we should see basically this output in the console. You can see it starts with 8,8. This is the head of the snake. Then we have 9,8, which is to the right, and then we have 10,8, which is again to the right. This was the initial snake when we called basically the snake spawn. Then we have grow. We've called it 3 times, so it means that it will take the position of the tail and add it to the tail of the snake. Now the snake is extended by 3 nodes, but the nodes share basically the position of the tail here. So this is maybe not the behavior of the snake, but this is the implementation I'm asking for here. Because we don't have visual stuff, it's actually the easiest way that I came up with. Now, after that, so this was the first dump. So we have just one line of dump after the grow. So this is basically the first line here. After that, we're basically calling snake move 1 time. So it will move up, and then we dump it. Each movement is basically reported to the console. So you see that 8,7, so this is x, y. So x stays the same, y goes up. So we have the top left corner 0, 0. To the right it's positive, to the downwards it is positive. And basically when we move upwards, the y coordinate is subtracted by 1. So you can see that the head is moving up. And well, the previous position is basically the next position of the second node here. And then this position becomes the position of the 3rd node. This position becomes the 4th node, the 5th node, and the 6th node. You can see the tail has not moved. So basically they stay the same. When we move one more up, you can see that the head is at 8.6. Then you can see this whole sequence here is repeated here, and the tail still didn't move. One more movement, and you can see this whole sequence is down here. There's a pattern that you should catch up on, hopefully. And once we reach the top, this is probably the one where we reach the top. In main function, you can see we have another for loop where we have 8 units of movement to the left. Now we see that the x coordinate of the head is decreasing, and the head is basically reaching the top left corner. Once that's done, basically, since we first moved to top and then we were moving to the left, you can see at the end we have 0, 0, and then the first node, the first node after the head is at 1, 0, the next one is at 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0. You see there are 6 nodes. The first one is head. We have 5 more nodes, and they are aligned like that. So you should stick to the linked list structure here that we have basically. So we are using nodes, we are using integers, x, y, and we have head. And we are accessing every next node with head.next or head.next.next or head.next.next.next, etc. So it goes like that. You should basically stick to the basic linked list implementation that we had in the lessons. Do not define extra functions because these are sufficient These have jobs to do, and they're hopefully explained well with the help of this video. And of course the template that you have here. So you can only use malloc free and std from stdlib and printf from stdio. Nothing else is necessary, so don't use anything else. And you should basically download the template and update the template. This is basically a snake movement. Hope that you will enjoy this and hope that you can solve it. Good luck.